Okie, we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone to February's FSU Chats. My name is Jared Logan. I use he and his pronouns, and I serve as one of the assistant directors within New Student and Family Programs. And we're excited to have you join us today to talk about falling in and out of love, thinking about changing your major, as well as studying abroad opportunities. So to get us started, again, I want to talk a little bit about who is New Student and Family Programs. Who we are, we assist new students and families in their transition to Florida State, into the community of Florida State through innovative partnerships, programs, and resources. So many of our programs you may have heard of. So we are responsible for the orientation programs for all incoming first year and transfer students, as well as doing some additional programming, thinking of what we call Ask and All, which is kind of our direction giving locations, as well as first day photos. So if you follow us on social media, you may have seen some of the first day photos that folks may have tagged us in. We're also responsible for Chart Your Course, which is one of the first year seminar programs here on campus, and a multitude of other things, including family programs, which include our FSU Chats and FSU Family Blog, which I'll talk a little bit more about in just a bit. So as you continue to stay engaged as a family member, we want to make sure you stay connected with us. A great way to do that is through the Family Connections e-newsletter. It's a great tool. We share something monthly. So the first week of every month, there's a newsletter that goes out with information that's happening on campus, things you should be preparing for maybe for the next month, some important dates, or just some general knowledge-based articles to help you as a family member support your student while they're here at Florida State. If you've not connected with us via the Family Connections e-newsletter, we ask that you do so. If you go to Florida State University on Google and you type in Family e-newsletter, it'll bring you to our page, and you can go ahead and sign up there on that page, and then you will begin to receive, again, our monthly newsletters with some great information in it to make sure you're staying best connected with your student and staying up to date on what is happening here at Florida State. As I mentioned, the next thing, we also have our FSU Family blogs. These blogs are information that we share, oftentimes from our students' perspective or their experience. We have some students that write blogs about, about changing their major, about what it means to, maybe go into the winter break. That's what some of the recent ones have been. It also some blogs about helping family members communicate with their student in the best way possible. To find our blog, you can just go to fsufamily.com. It'll bring you to our blog page, and you are happy, and we'll be happy that you went through and read through some of the articles that we've had previously. Please make sure you stay connected with us. If you're not already connected with us on all our social media platforms, you want to make sure you do so, especially as we continue to open up new information about what's going on campus, things that can happen in the fall. You may have seen that we've mentioned on our social media page, we've released the dates for homecoming, as well as family weekend, which you can go to other offices' websites, but we have been sharing that information. Oftentimes we will share football tickets when they open, so you can go ahead and look at that, the football schedule. So please make sure you follow us on all of our social media. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We even have a TikTok and a YouTube. And you can find all of us on FSU NSFP. Again, that is FSU NSFP. And you can find us on all social media platforms through that username. Some additional opportunities. Again, I've mentioned the family blog, but I want to mention it again to you all. Please make sure you're checking out this blog. It has some really great information for you in supporting your students. And of course, you can look at our archived FSU chats. We did one in January about springing into action. Ways your student can get involved while coming back into the spring semester. And we have some previous chats that we've had with other offices across campus that we'd be happy for you to go back and look over. As a reminder, this session is being recorded. So if we say something and you may have missed it, we will make sure you have the link. It'll go on our social media platform so you're able to see those things again. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Delilah to start sharing from her area.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be able to meet with you this evening. I am Delilah Thomas, and I am currently the program manager for the Center for Academic Planning. My role is to work with second-year students and above in the exploratory process But before I get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Center for Exploratory Students, as I used to be an advisor with that department, and I wanted to share as we're kind of a part of a whole center. So the Center for Exploratory Students is for the first years, MAP Term 1 and Term 2. So that's generally what we know as freshman students or first year students. And those students are going to be coming in as exploratory, or if they decide that they change their major in their first year from, say, they're going to do any major from business to English and they decided they wanted to change it, or they wanted to take some time to explore, they weren't sure what that other major would be at that time, then they can come see us in the Center for Exploratory. So that program kind of dives deeper into that exploration through the lens of self-exploration, major exploration, and career exploration. So that self piece is a part of our philosophy. We really help students and guide them to look at themselves, to do some assessments through ways of values, interests, skills, and how does that pertain to a major. And then we will get into the majors, how to look at them, all the resources available, such as the academic program guide, and connecting them with the right major departments. We also talk about career development. So sometimes it can be very linear. Students might have an idea of a career path and they, for example, want to do accounting. So accounting is an obvious major, but oftentimes we know that it's not so linear. So we also help them figure out how to add on experience, get involved, get engaged, to really rack up those skills that they're going to need in order to start career development. It doesn't necessarily have to be one career for the rest of their lives right now that they have to figure out, but let's start getting involved and gaining experience. So yeah, we do a lot of programming like that in the Center for Exploratory Students. We also have a class, the SLS 1203 class, and that is on our website. That class digs deeper into that values, interests, and skills, that self-exploration, the major exploration and career exploration. It is, I think it's 10 modules, so for 10 weeks, or actually 12 weeks, and students can take that class for 1 credit. And yeah, hopefully our goal is by the end of it, they're going to declare their major with confidence. We are starting to offer that class in the spring semester as well, so be on the lookout for that. And currently that's only for first year students. So really, if a student is in their first year, that could be available to them. We also do other programming as a part of that first year program. And even if the student doesn't want to switch into exploratory, but just needs help navigating what majors we offer, how to research those majors, and how to go about making that decision, we are here to help. Now, going into the Center for Academic Planning, which is the second year students and above, so sophomores and above, that are still not certified in the upper division, which basically means that they're at the lower level. They are still working on their general education courses. They haven't been into an upper level major, working on major curriculum. We can also meet with them, and they could also switch into exploratory in some cases. And that's where, if a student is, maybe they did not get admitted into their first choice major, maybe it's a selective major, there's an application process, very competitive, and they were not able to get admitted, then we can support them in doing that major reselection, or we can bring them into the exploratory major for about 1 term or so while they work to get into a major of their preference. So we oftentimes take a lot of the philosophy from the first year program and apply it to the second years and above in our CAP center. We also have to really be cognizant about the academic mapping policy, because FSU has a policy to help students stay on track so that they graduate in a timely manner. So we help them navigate those policies and look at those milestones, is what we call them, which are certain requirements that they need per their MAP term or per semester. So it's a lot of kind of lingo and policies that we help them navigate so that they can understand it. And we set them up for research. We have a major exploration worksheet. We have other resources that can really help them dig deeper and figure it out. And also in CAP, if a student is more limited in options at that point due to our mapping policies, we help them realize those values in maybe not their first choice major, but other majors that are still open to them, that they're still available to them, and what skills and benefits that they're going to get for those majors. And then what can they do to complement that major? What minors can they do? What student involvement and engagement can they do? Career development, internships, part-time jobs, and we can really have those conversations and again, connect them with the right people. So I think that's pretty much it. Just as a brief synopsis of what we do, I'll go ahead and leave my email, the CAP email, in case anybody needs to reach me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Delilah. We really appreciate you sharing. Next up, we have Leanne from the Center for Global Engagement, so I'll pass over to her.
Great. Thank you, Jared. Thanks for the opportunity to join you all this evening. I'm excited to have the chance to talk to you about global exchanges and how those work at FSU. But my name's Leanne Bauer. I'm the program director here for our global exchange programs, and I'll be telling you a bit more about what that is. And if it's okay, could I share my screen, Jared? Is that fine? Okay, lovely.
100%.
Wonderful. Okay, bear with me while I do that. I will pull up some slides we have here. Okay, hopefully that's everyone can see. Is that right? Great, wonderful. So just to give you an idea, what is an exchange? A lot of times I meet with students and they know they want to go abroad, or they have an interest in global and the world, as we all do now, but really have that need to want to go abroad. And so an exchange program can be a really great fit for students really at any point in their academic career here at FSU, but it tends to be the best fit for students after they're deciding on their major and really working towards some of the major coursework. So kind of aligning with our previous presentation, talking about the differences in declaring majors, partly because the way these exchanges work is students enroll as an international exchange student at one of our partner universities. We have about 48 of them around the world, all different areas of the world and different academic areas. They're definitely, geared toward kind of that sophomore to junior is typically what I end up seeing, but can really, also be a good fit for a student in their last year at FSU, can also take advantage, of this opportunity. They mostly are for a semester, so usually anywhere between fall and summer or spring. But summer does tend to be a little less popular with our exchanges. So something to kind of bear in mind. Something else to think of as far as is an exchange program a good fit would be, the idea that these are a very independent experience. So students are expected to take a lot of ownership in the application process, which can have a lot of steps involved because they're not only applying to be selected by FSU, they also apply to the exchange university they're intending to go to, and really diving into the coursework that they can offer to our students. So for example, we have a number of exchanges that are what we call university-wide, which means any major could apply and take a variety of classes that would fit toward either their major requirements or electives or minors, any combination of that. And those tend to be very popular with students because it gives them a lot of flexibility. But we definitely emphasize the exchanges are sometimes, very small numbers of students selected to go to any location. So we definitely want the students who are comfortable with that and really excited about the opportunity to live in another country and really kind of manage that day-to-day life somewhere else, similar to what they went through coming to FSU as freshmen, adjusting to, the new culture within Tallahassee and FSU, if it's different for them. But even, on top of that, when you think about going to another country and all that involves. So we definitely emphasize the independence aspect of an exchange being a good fit for a student. but also courses and academics, of course, are another really key component to this, because it does need to be timed right with the students' academic goals and career and the remaining requirements at FSU. So that's part of what we advise students to think about as they're researching this as an option of many international opportunities they have at FSU available to them. And it typically will take a student anywhere from 6 to 9, 10 months to really get everything together in order to submit everything on time for our application. So definitely the earlier the better. Freshmen coming in, it's great when they already know about this as an opportunity and kind of start planning around that with their coursework here at FSU. And then some majors may be more flexible than others, even though, as I mentioned, we have a lot of options geared toward a variety of majors, but something obviously like international affairs has a lot of opportunities, language majors as well. But our College of Business has several exchange partners just for business majors, and where students are taking, upper level courses there as part of their FSU degree requirements. Another really great aspect of exchanges and part of what makes this a really rewarding opportunity to provide to students is it's a very affordable way to have an international experience. Part of that is because these are designed on a reciprocal basis, meaning we send our students abroad and they in turn, students from that university come here to FSU. What that means practically on the financial side is that the tuition that students would pay if they were here in Tallahassee is paid at the same rate for them to go to Tokyo or go to Germany or go to France. So it keeps it affordable, particularly given the fact that any financial aid that they have, so Bright Futures, prepaid, grants, loans, other forms of aid that's part of that package goes with them for this experience. So there's other scholarships, of course, out there as well for, geared for international study. And we don't have any additional program fee or application fee even. So there's really nothing to lose other than maybe some investment in time and research to see if this is a good fit for them. But definitely that, again, really is what I like about this opportunity, being able to meet with students who say, oh, wow, I'm able to do this really immersive experience. And I never thought I would have the chance to do that, or it seemed out of reach for me, to really help them navigate that, not only academically, but also, to see it come together for them is a really unique opportunity. Other costs, so on our website, and I'll pull that up if we have time here, things that we want students to think about, though, realistically in terms of cost. On our website, we break it down with an estimate based on what our partner universities tell us for cost of living. So obviously things like airfare, accommodation, where students live while they're there, food, differences in currency exchange and things. So we do want students to be also practical about the reality of it will likely be more expensive than in Tallahassee because of, wanting to travel and doing things outside of maybe their normal budget in a semester. Another benefit to an exchange is that students can earn a formative experience credit toward their graduation requirements that FSU has. So if they've not already earned that or not really found an opportunity that they want to use as formative experience, this is a great way to do that. We have a 0 credit class that they enroll in while they're abroad, helps them really navigate the adjustment and reflect on what they're experiencing living abroad and helping them navigate that. But kind of another practical reason that exchanges can be a really good benefit for our students. And then the application is all done, of course, through our website online. Each program has a specific program profile page, and I'll show that briefly here at the end. And the students log in with their FSU accounts, apply, and start working on the application components. But again, like I said, the sooner the better, the more time they have, particularly of getting their courses reviewed and approved by the appropriate FSU advisors and faculty. That's the part that we definitely want students to have enough time to do and get all the right people on board with their plan. But all of that is done and discussed before they apply, so we know they're a good academic fit for the chosen location. And then the selection process, after our deadline passes, there's a faculty or advisor committee review, and we determine the candidates based on number of spots we have available. And students are then selected, and again, going through another round of applications to go to our partner university, and we help them, navigate those steps, including, what they need to know before they go, pre-departure requirements, safety, health, all those important aspects of going abroad, particularly these days. And then I also just wanted to mention another opportunity, part of our center in the Center for Global Engagement. Whether or not your student goes abroad or decides to make this a part of their FSU career, they can still have a really significant international, intercultural experience just by being a part of the FSU community. One way to do that and to be recognized by FSU is our Global Citizenship Certificate program. It's a formal recognition, it goes on their transcript, and really helps them identify and develop the global competencies and skills and knowledge that we would hope students of any major in any field would have as a result of being an FSU student. So that's done through academic coursework as well as intercultural events they attend on campus. We have a lot of them that our office, Center for Global Engagement, hosts every week and ongoing programs and events. But aside from that, it's just a really good way to particularly get students connected with other students who have an interest in global issues and global topics. So I definitely want to highlight Global Citizenship Certificate, and an exchange also counts towards one of the GCC requirements. So with that, I'll stop that share and just want to pull up our website really quick just to show how to navigate through to that. This is our main page here, and one really good way for students to just get started would be obviously clicking on Getting Started on the website, but they can also search programs if they kind of have an idea of maybe of where they'd like to go. I'm just going to pick one here so that I can just pull one up quickly, but you can also do, let me get my link there. Any kind of keyword searches or major, you can search by major, but each location will have information here on different tabs for academics that are in that particular location, student life, so what's the housing like, where do they, what kind of student activities do they have. We have the estimated cost tab and, some other kind of general policies and pictures. But just wanted to highlight that as probably the best resource would be to go to our main page there to find out more and get more advice and advising. And I'll put the direct link in the chat here, which is just globalexchanges.fsu.edu.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Leanne. And also to our family members that are watching, so what we're going to move into now is our Q&A section of the event. So at the very bottom of your screen, you will see two thought bubbles on top of each other, and they'll say Q&A. Feel free to drop questions there in the chat, and we will in the Q&A section, and I will moderate those out to our two presenters here. But to get started, we do have some questions that were sent in prior. So first one's for Delilah. So what steps should my student take if they're considering changing their major?
So if they are a first year student, well, it kind of depends. So if they know what major they want to change to, then they just need to go directly to that advisor of that new major and meet with them, talk about the major. I would suggest, or I always talk to students about making sure that they're utilizing the academic program guide. And I can share my screen and share what that looks like. Mm-hmm. Pull that up and share screen. Okay, so the academic program guide here is one of our top resources when it comes to major research. So say a student is interested in looking at the English major. So we have them outlined here in different groups, but we also have the A to Z list in case you can't find it or you're not sure which group it would be in. But say they're interested in editing, writing, and media, which is English. And it's always going to be really important to take a look at the program description, the academic map. The department page can be very helpful, and career information here is oftentimes pretty helpful too. The learning compact, that's really going to have like the learning outcomes. So if you're familiar with academics, then that might be fun to look at. Otherwise, I would say the other 4 links are going to be the most appropriate ones. Then when it comes to the program description, so if we look at the college, we know that it's in the arts and sciences. We can see some general contact information there. The description of the major, the prerequisites of the major. So for this one, English, the ENC 1101, and the second English. And then it outlines the major. So core requirements, advanced requirements for the major. It gives the description, or sorry, the title of the courses. Also say, you could search these courses on Class Search. You can maybe even Google some syllabi, FSU syllabi, and get a deeper understanding of what you're going to be learning as a part of this major. And jot down questions. As you do more and more research and dig deeper, you can jot down these questions. You're going to come up with things you're curious about. Maybe you even go to the FSU bookstore and go through some books that are required as a part of these courses and this curriculum. And know that you haven't learned it yet, is what I tell students. It might look a little Greek, but does it seem interesting? Is this something that you're going to be interested in learning about? Does it appeal to you? And then again, you can continue on here, seeing if there's a minor requirements, other requirements about the major. Utilizing the academic map here as well. So I know when we go through orientation or on the liberal studies website, we talk about the milestones and what that means. So oftentimes exploratory advisors will walk students through what this means, how to determine if they're on track for the major, and so on. So I would say, yeah, do that research, come up with those questions, and meet with the advisor. Now, if they're not sure what major they want to do, or they are not sure if they're on track or need help exploring those majors, that's when they can utilize the Center for Exploratory Students or Center for Academic Planning if they are not certified into upper division just yet. So I can also provide the email address for the Center for Exploratory Students too. But yeah, they're welcome to come see us.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Next question is for Leanne. So in your opinion, is there a better time that my students should be studying abroad?
That's a really great question. I think it's maybe not a question of better across the board. It would just be what's the best fit for that particular student's real interest. So for example, if maybe they're really not sure kind of what they want to do academically and they're still figuring things out, but they know they have an interest, in a particular country and that culture or the language even, maybe going abroad early would help them kind of discover maybe some areas academically and personally that may change the course of their, career and academic path. On the other hand, kind of like examples I was sharing in presentation, for some students, going abroad toward the end of their academic career at FSU is really beneficial, particularly in exchange, because they can really dive into a different perspective of their academic area of interest. So for example, we have psychology students who go to Germany and get to do some really innovative research with professors at a university. We have University of Wuppertal, it's called. And those students are more advanced psychology students. They've already had a lot of that foundation here at FSU, but they're really enhancing and adding to. So again, it could kind of be a whole range of the timing. So I don't think there's maybe one that's better than the other, but I would say definitely the earlier the student starts thinking about it and just brainstorming, getting ideas, talking to advisors, getting to know faculty, coming to see my office, talking to other offices on campus that have other international opportunities as well, just to kind of get all of that and then, synthesize it and think about what's going to make it best for them. Because the hardest thing is when I meet with a senior and they're like, I wish I would have known about this, a year ago, and it would have been a better fit. So yeah, the sooner the better, just to know all the options.
Perfect. And a follow-up question to that, are there specific sessions that my students should be attending to learn more about studying abroad?
Yeah, for global exchanges, we have information sessions twice a week, and those are on our website. We also do them virtually, of course, by appointment. Students can just click on the link in our website in that Getting Started section and schedule it right then and there, and we have a lot of times available for that. So we do like an initial advising and the info session. Then as students move further along into really narrowing down their application or their location and working on the application, they'll usually meet with me at that point, and I'll help them with the really kind of the steps they need to go through. So yeah, just to get started, I would say come to an info session. We have a really great former exchange student who leads those and can really speak to the student experience for them. So yeah, that's probably the best way to get started.
Perfect, thank you. All right, Delilah, so another question for you. Is changing their major going to slow down when my student graduates?
That's a really good question. We get that a lot. And that, again, depends on where they're at in their academic career. So generally speaking, for first-year students, not so much, because those milestones don't get too heavy. There's not as many milestones in there, especially their first term. This question is very dynamic and can be very nuanced, also based on credit hours and on the major itself, how many prerequisites the major has, how many milestones, and how large the major is. So for example, engineering is a very large major. So yeah, it can be very student specific, and that's another reason why we have our offices here to help students. But in, I guess, general terms, usually with a student in their first year, we typically say no, not so much. We'd rather have you explore now in your first year than explore later where it can slow you down. So for our second years and third years, sophomores, juniors, things can get a little bit different, and it could potentially. And again, that just depends on the major and the student situation. So if anybody needs help with that, they're welcome to reach out to a specific advisor of the major they want to change to, or again, exploratory advising or CAP.
Perfect. So kind of follow up, but kind of off topic for that question for you, Delilah. What advice do you have for family members who want to support their student as they navigate a major change?
As a major change or to explore majors?
As they navigate a major change.
Yeah, I mean, so to navigate the major change, it could be to where it's really student specific. It could be to where the student is all set and ready to change their major to a new major. I would just say, if that's what they want to do, if they're excited about that new major, if they're selecting it based on I guess genuine values, interests, skills, then you can support them by encouraging them to go ahead and meet with the new major advisor and going through that process. It's an online major change process. So if they're on track for the major, they should just be able to get advised by that new major advisor, and the advisor will initiate that online form, and then the student just has to acknowledge that form. A lot of times with these processes, we cross our T's, we dot our I's, but it's always good to let the student know that, follow up, make sure everything is processed, make sure everything goes through. If you see something, if you initiate a process or acknowledge a major change, then follow up in a couple days, make sure it has changed, that sort of thing too. That's just kind of life stuff. So it's good to support them in that. And then if you're talking more exploring, then again, family members, we have the best interest in mind for our students. We want the best for them. But yeah, I would really, encourage them to do that exploring up front. And it doesn't even have to be so much with majors too. They can explore minors, and they can explore these certificates like the one that the Globe offers. There's a lot of great certificates out there, as well as maybe even double majors could be a potential for them. And then the student organizations and involvement in leadership roles there, as well as what the Career Center has to offer and all the services there. So yeah, there's just a lot of support. I would just keep encouraging them and listen to them when they want to talk about these things.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So our next question is going back to Leanne. So does my student need to take a foreign language to be able to study abroad?
That is another good question. And actually, I don't know that I really specifically mentioned that, but the short answer is no. And I think a lot of students do have that, misconception somewhat of thinking, oh, I've got to be, intermediate or even, really advanced in this language to go there. All of our exchange partners, whether or not English is the main language of instruction or even, within the country, we only partner with universities that offer a significant number of courses taught in English. And many times that particularly many universities have, English taught degree programs entirely. So even, local students are getting their degrees taught in English as well. So it does not have to be just for language learners. Although, of course, having some understanding helps, and, going to the grocery store, ordering food and the daily life is some basics is definitely useful, but not for classes at all. And that's across the board on all of our exchange locations.
Perfect. So another question, what's the difference between studying abroad and an exchange program?
Okay, sure. Well, by studying abroad, do you mean just in general studying abroad, or?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, okay, sure. So within study abroad, there's lots of different options. What's different about an exchange program is that you are attending that university as really immersing yourself into that local university life, unlike other programs that may be taught and led by U.S. faculty or faculty from your home university. So those are usually called faculty-led programs, where a faculty member, goes with a group of maybe 20, 50 students and has, courses taught on site. With an exchange program, you're basically directly enrolling in another country's university system, academic system. So again, that's really what sets it apart and making it a really immersive type of experience, and also really independent, because there isn't an FSU faculty member or FSU, entity there. We have our partners and partnerships. So there's people like me at all of our international exchange locations that welcome the students, receive them, do orientations, give them support, make sure they're having a safe and good time. But there isn't that, large, you're a little more on your own, getting back to that independence. So, but again, part of that, and that's really what attracts students to an exchange that are really looking for that type of experience. Maybe they've already had a really great shorter study abroad program, or maybe did a summer program that was a little more of a, what you would think of maybe as more traditional study abroad. And then they're like, oh, okay, now I've done that. I can do that on my own. And they want another international experience. I see that a lot with students where they've maybe done something even in high school, or had some kind of trip, and then they're really looking for that to add to their global experiences. So I hope that answered.
Yeah, I think so.
Great.
All right, perfect. So just kind of a final question to wrap it all up with us here today. What would you say from your own areas is the single most underutilized resource in your area/department? It's a big question, I know.
I guess I'll go. I kind of have two. Going back to the academic program guide and all of the glorious links. So I showed you guys maybe about 3 or 4 of the important ones, but within it, you can also see the tabs on the top, such as minors and major comparisons. And yeah, there's just all kinds of great links there. So just dig in, get your pen, your paper ready, and dig in and be curious and excited about how much you can explore through that research and that resource with these majors. And then one other thing I do want to mention, we are really excited as we're expanding this class. So the SLS 1203 class, Introduction to Academic Major Exploration for our first year students. And so I think that resource for incoming first years, or maybe in their second term, spring semester, that's going to be a big one too, because I can't tell you how beneficial I think that class is and how students have found it to be beneficial, because we really focus on that self-major and career exploration within it. So it's a good one.
All right, thank you.
And I would say, I guess for our Center for Global Engagement, probably the fact that we have a newsletter that goes out every month that helps students know everything that's going on around campus that's international or global focused. And so, beyond just me talking about exchanges, part of what our mission in Center for Global Engagement is to really be, the hub for international activity around campus and give students whatever interest they have a way to connect with one another. So, getting in touch with what's going on just in our building, which is referred to as the Globe, things like our International Coffee Hour that's every Friday, 5 o'clock. We've been having a really large turnout for that this semester, but that's maybe not so much a resource, but in a way, a resource to connect students. Again, they don't have to go abroad to have an international experience within FSU. And so knowing who we are on our campus and coming to our events at the CGE, would be something I'd hope any new and continuing student would know about and take advantage of.
Perfect. Thank you both so much. Thank you all, family members that are watching from afar, for joining us today, asking your questions. As I mentioned, we have our FSU chat about once a month. So please be on the lookout, checking out what's next for next month. And again, if you did miss something during this chat that you want to go back and look at, whether it's something that I mentioned, Delilah, Leanne, whoever it happens to be, you can go back. We will be recording these and we will post our recordings on our social media probably midday tomorrow, if not on Wednesday. So you can go back and watch that. But again, thank you all so much. We are so happy to continue to engage with you all throughout the months. Thank you so much, Delilah, Leanne, for joining us this evening to kind of share a little bit more about your departments. Family members, if you do have questions for them, feel free to reach out to them. Reach out to them, go on the websites they showed you, and see what is out there for your students. Again, thank you all so much, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye.